noise.
It is my enormous pleasure to welcome to the Truth and Rhythm Mothership saxophonist, flautist, and vocalist Bill Risbrook and guitarist, vocalist Rick Thompson, original members of one of the greatest funk bands of the 1970s, the fabulous BT Express.
Yeah.
Best known for their consecutive #1 smash hits, Do It Till You're Satisfied and Express. The group saw all 7 of its 1974 to 1982 albums crack the R&B Top 50, with 4 of those records landing in the top 20. Their other hits and classic tracks include If It Don't Turn You On, You Oughta Leave It Alone, This House Is Smokin, Give It What You Got, Peace Pipe, Can't Stop Groovin, Now, Want to Do It Some More, Funky Music, Shout It Out, What You Do in the Dark, You Got Something, Give Up the Funk, Let's Dance, and Stretch. BT Express also helped launch the careers of 2 top funk and soul producers in Randy Muller and Kashif. And the group's all-time classic debut album, Do It Till You're Satisfied, which is right there, was just re-released. So, hey, with that, let's ride the Express with Bill and Rick. Thank you for joining me. How are you guys?
It's a pleasure to be here, my good man.
Good, good.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So, and tell the people where you are today, Bill.
Well, right now I'm in Queens, New York. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. I'm living in Queens now, and I'm just enjoying myself. It's a beautiful day. It's a really beautiful day. It's in the about 84, 85, and we had a heat wave there for the last couple of days. But right now things have calmed down. So I'm enjoying the weather while it's here. I'm a summer person, so I like this kind of weather.
All right. And Rick, where are you today?
Yes. I am in Queens also. I'm a Brooklyn guy. Well, actually, I was from South Carolina, a place called Fairfax. Then I relocated to Brooklyn, New York. And now I'm in Queens, a place called Jamaica, Queens, New York. As a matter of fact, Bill, I'm always calling Risbrook, because of his brother, So I always call him, but Bill.
Yes, sir.
We always was pretty close to each other. We always stayed in touch with each other over the years, and sometimes we don't talk to the other members of the group, but Bill and I, we really keep in touch, and he the one told me about today, and so here we are. Here I am. Like he said, it's a beautiful day. It's always good to be alive in this day.
It's good to be alive on any day.
Right on.
Well, gents, I'm so glad to have you. As I was telling Rick before you came on, Bill, I've been a fan since the beginning. So, and viewers have been wanting the story on the show for a long time. So it's very exciting to have you here.
Good. It's good to be here.
So, guys, Bill and your brother Louis, now Jamal, who, as you mentioned before, couldn't be with us today, but he's having a good time on his own. From Brooklyn and a musical family. And I know, Rick, you're from South Carolina, I think as you mentioned, and you came from sort of more of a blues musical background. Yeah. Can each of you kind of summarize, how you got so deep into music in your youth? Let's start with Bill on that.
Well, my family, I had members of my family who played music. My father played the trombone. My mother played violin and piano, and eventually she used to make money, teaching other people and whatnot in the neighborhood to play piano. I came from a musical family. I had another brother, his name is Robert, and for years he played with local bands. He plays guitar. And then I started playing music back in public school. I actually started out first with the trumpet. I started learning trumpet first. And then from trumpet, I switched over when I went into junior high. I started in on what you call it, on the clarinet. I always enjoyed saxophone, but they used to have a rule that in order to play saxophone, you have to play clarinet first. Why that is, I don't know. Because they said once you master the clarinet, playing the saxophone shouldn't be that hard. It was something about alternate pinkies or whatever it was. So I did that. And then once I went to high school, I played clarinet in the high school band. Because I don't know if in that orchestra, they even had saxophones. Because, sometimes in the orchestra, you don't have saxophones. Okay, but I played clarinet. And then later on, I switched over on my own. When I went to college, I started back with the saxophone again. So, so it's been a long journey going back to public school, junior high, high school, college. And, like I said, I've enjoyed every minute of it. I can't think of anything. I was playing last night, even for my granddaughter, who's in from Chicago. I was playing for her, and she was enjoying it. So as long as I can play, I'm going to play. It's that simple.
That's it.
Thanks, Bill. And Rick, give us a little bit about your youth in terms of music.
Yeah, well, like I just said, I'm from a place called Fairfax, South Carolina. And, we didn't have too much musical personality in our family. Just that my brother, he was a blues man. He was a blues guitar player, But during my high school years, like Risbrook, I was on trumpet. And, I hate to pat myself on the shoulder, but I was a good trumpeter, because I was headed for a scholarship, playing my trumpet. But and every year during the summer, during the high school days, at the end of the high school season, we used to have used to call a May Day parade. We used to go down the streets of Fairfax, and it was very hot. It was mainly like 95, pushing 100 degrees, and I was out there in that sun playing that trumpet, and I was the lead trumpeter, so I had to hit all the high notes. I had to keep the high notes into it, and it just got too much for me. I told my brother, look, this is it. I'm not doing this no more. I can't stand that sun, So I said, why don't you teach me the guitar? I'm a, because I love music. I said, okay. He said, okay, so he bought me a little cheap guitar, and we started playing. I said, man, he always played the blues. I said, I listened to because I was always an R&B man. And I listened to the radio, and I heard the Temps and the Ohio Players and Kool and the Gang and all those guys, And I said, look, that's what I want to do. See, he said, okay, well, just have to practice on your own because I don't know too much of that. So that's what I did. I picked up my guitar, listened to the radio, and I played. I copied everything, note for note, And then once I graduated high school, I came to New York. And, I loved to take my guitar with me. I took my guitar with me everywhere I went. The house parties, I went to a lot of house parties. And every time I went to house parties back in the days, I used to sing a lot of Otis Redding, Sam Cooke. It used to be the life of the party, I just get my guitar, but that's what I love to do. And if you want me to go on, I can tell you how I met King and so on, but I'm going to just stop right now and just say, and let it go. Yeah.
Perfect place to stop, because you mentioned some influences. I wanted to ask Bill before we move on. Bill, who were some of your biggest musical influences as you got started?
Well, first of all, let me just say, no matter how many years you know somebody, you can always learn something new. I never even knew this man was such a great trumpet player. Isn't that something? I knew about the man. I've known this man for over 50 years. I just learned something new. Isn't that something? He's a hell of a trumpet.
I learned something new too. I didn't know you played trumpet.
Oh yeah. That
See?
instrument I started out on. Oh yeah, was the trumpet, and then switched over. Now, what was the question you was asking me?
Who were some of your biggest musical influences? Rick had mentioned Ohio Players Cool in the Gang, Sam Cooke, things like that.
Oh no, well actually, when I started out, so some of what was Cool in the Gang and whatnot, I think they may have been just getting started, you know.
Right.
But yeah, I was influenced by guys like James Brown and the tremendous rhythm section that he had. And again, guys like Otis Redding and people like that, you know, who was out at that time, Al Green and some of the other ones. As from a musical standpoint, some of my favorite saxophone players were people like Sonny Stitt and Dexter Gordon, Sonny Rollins, Illinois Jacquet, people like that. Grover Washington, who else you got there? You know, Stanley Tarantine. Those were some of my favorite saxophone players and musicians. But as far as like some of the other groups, you know, I was right into that era with the Gladys Knight folks and Dionne Warwick and people like that, you know. So, you know, so you listen to all of them and try to pick up some ideas and whatnot that you can use later on in life. And that's exactly what I did. Learned a lot from listening to the folks before me.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for that. And so how did you guys meet?
We actually met at a party, a backyard party given by our eventual manager, King Davis. King Davis was always giving house parties at his house and whatnot. So sometimes it was free parties, sometimes it was paid parties, but he was always giving it. And I had come down with my saxophone, and I guess Rick was there with his guitar or whatever it is. But that's where I remember the two of us meeting. We actually met at a backyard party given by our manager, King Davis. That's the first time I remember laying eyes on Rick Thompson.
That's right. That was just one of those days that we met at the party. Like I said, where I left up from, I used to love parties and I always took my guitar with me. And that's how we met in the backyard party with King. I met King Davis there that day too, you know. Mm-hmm. And that's when he said, oh, you sound pretty good on that guitar. You know, he said, I have a group called House Rockers. I said, you want to come and listen to them? I said, sure, why not? You know, and so one led to the other, and I met Bill, and from there, I'll just leave it now for that until his next part come up, you know, because I love to jump ahead. My mind is so gross into how we met and everything until I'm just like anxious just to keep going, you know, but I'll wait.
Yeah.
But some of the other members too was King Davis' nephew. His name was Bernard Corbett. He was a drummer, you know, and then some kind of way I think related to him was the female bass player that we had, Jackie Durant. You know, so we got started with myself, Rick, Jackie, Bernard, and then later on other people joined us.
Yeah.
What was your guitar at that point? What kind of guitar were you playing, Rick?
I had what did I have? Oh, Gibson Firebird. It was one of those guitar look upside down, you know. A Gibson Firebird always looked backwards, but because the knobs was different and the neck of the guitar was, you know, different, and it's called a Firebird for some reason, like a wing of a bird, you know. But it was a very expensive guitar, Firebird. As a matter of fact, I don't know what happened. That guitar was stolen from me. It was worth a lot of money, but it was stolen in the back of my car. My amplifier, the guitar, and everything was someone stole the car, and that's how I lost that. But it was a Gibson Firebird.
Mm. And about how old were you guys when you met?
I guess like around 19 or so, somewhere in there, 8.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because we're still pretty close in age. I think I'm a couple of years older than Risbrook.
Yeah, not too much.
How fast did things sort of progress then toward the realization of BT Express being a band?
Well, it took a while because for the next number of years, we actually just did a lot of local gigs right there in Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan. We built up BT Express playing at dances on the weekend, cocktail sips, anniversaries, things like that, birthday parties.
We were just going to interject, but that we were under the name of the King Davis House Rockers.
Right, yeah, not BT Express.
Right. Uh-huh.
As the House Rockers, did you get to open up for any name acts?
Honestly speaking, I can't remember. I can't remember us really opening up for any big acts.
No, we were mainly just a local band that played for dances. We used to do a lot of dances. We used to play for a lot of weddings. I think we even played for The Voice once.
Yeah.
You know, but we was a very popular local band, King Davis House Rockers.
Did you have any original tunes at that point, or just all covers?
Just mainly all cover tunes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Early on, you know, at a certain point, King did try to take us into the studio, and he was in contact with a very good songwriter at that time. His name was Billy Frazier. I remember he took us into the studio, and we recorded a song called "We All Make Mistakes Sometime." Remember that one?
Oh,
all mistakes. Yeah. Okay, that was by Billy Frazier. So we take a shot. Unfortunately, the song didn't really go any place big, but that was when we first went into the studio as King Davis and the House Rockers.
Yes, yes. As a matter of fact, I think I'll send you. I still have it. It was called "We All Make Mistakes This Time," and what do I have to do? I think I will send you a copy of those two songs. Right?
Yes. Send me a copy. I'd like to hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Fact, I still listen to them.
Oh, that'd be great. So, how did you get the record deal with Roadshow?
Well,
or Scepter?
Actually, we were trying to you know, get out there in the mainstream, and I'm trying to think who we met first. I think we must have played someplace, and a medical doctor heard us. Dr. Applebay,
Right.
Coolidge Applebay. I think he heard us playing somewhere. Okay, and he was a gynecologist, and I think one of his patients was the wife of our eventual producer, Jeff Lane. I think Jeff Lane's wife, I think, was one of his clients, you know, and I think the two of them heard about us, and they came down. But it was Dr. Coolidge Applebay that actually heard us and came down first. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. And during that section, when he heard us, Jeff Lane said, you know, you guys sound pretty good, you know. Do you have any original material? We at the time said, yeah, we have something here. But he said, if you guys can just come up with something great and present it to me, I would take you in the studio. So that's, if you remember, Bill, that's when we got together in the basement on Madison Street.
Right.
And you, I think Bernard was on the drums at that time. And no, it was Tyrell Woods, our drummer Tyrell.
Right.
Yeah, and we got together, and we came up with something called Express. Remember, I just came up. Tyrell, the drummer,
came up with the bass line.
Right, gave Lewis the bass line to play. And Jamal said, yeah, that's good. And Jamal copied it. And we did now. And the next thing, I just was listening to the bass line, and I said, you know, that sounds like a train. It sounds like a train moving. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna try and find a whistle on the guitar. You know, so that's when I came up like a horn blowing, down, down. You know, that we came up with that part. You know, and we put it together, and it sounded good. So, you know, from taking on that air, we rehearsed it and everything, and that's where we came up with this song, "Do It Till You're Satisfied." But before that, you want to tell them about Billy Nichols, Jamal?
Yeah, what happened was Jamal was playing at playing behind a play on Broadway called Two Gentlemen of Verona, and that was with Clifton Davis and some other people I can't remember. And he was playing the bass, and in the rhythm section was a guitar player named Billy Nichols, who was also a writer. And Billy Nichols is the one who actually wrote this song, "Do It Till You're Satisfied." He said he was talking to Jamal. He had heard Billy Nichols had heard us play a few times, and he said he thought this would be a good song for us. And he brought it down and introduced us to it, and we started playing it. We liked it. King liked it. The producers liked it, and that's how the song "Do It Till You're Satisfied" came about. That was actually written by guitar player Billy Nichols.
Right.
So you had those two songs, and what was it like when you first went into the studio?
It was fun. It was fun because, you know, that's not something that we had done a lot of in the past. It's not like we recorded a lot of stuff, but it never became a hit. So for us, it was a lot of fun. And Jeff Lane, he was connected with some of the other folks from Roadshow Records, like Freddie Frank and Sid Moore and whatnot.
Yeah.
They're the ones who got us into the studio. And then we just started bringing in other songwriters. We had people like this fellow Sam Taylor, who made what did Sam write? Everything good to you ain't always good for you. Okay, he wrote.
Put it in your peace pipe. His biggest song was "Put It in Your Peace Pipe."
That was Sam Taylor also, huh?
Yeah.
I was saying, okay, yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, he didn't end up getting paid the kind of money they should have been paid for those songs. But I guess back in the day, that's how it was. That's how it worked, you know. But he did a lot to help us out as far as songs was concerned.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was Jeff Lane like?
Well, Jeff, you know, Jeff did a good job on us as a producer and whatnot. He had a lot of help from another fellow named Randy Muller, who later on was leading the band Brass Construction. Randy was really an excellent musician, excellent flute player, and arranger and whatnot. So Jeff, when he went in there, he always used to look to Randy to really give him some advice on different things. And Randy did a tremendous job. Randy did a great job.
Yeah, Jeff Lane was a heavy on the foot. He was heavy on the foot and heavy on the snare. He just said, give it to me. I don't hear enough of that bass. I don't hear enough of that kick. Give it to me hard. I want that groove. He used to pound us with it, you know. And that's why his song, you know, like Brack and Chuck can have all that heavy equipment behind him, you know.
Right.
Because he was heavy on that.
Right.
Yeah, well, you mentioned about bringing the whistle sound to Express, but that also had that cool triangle in it, and like all those different sound elements made that song so interesting.
Yeah, well, you know, it's a sorry. The funny thing about that, each one of us brought our own part. Then it's rolled with our percussionist, and he had that little triangle. He said, "Dad, try this." We did a little triangle there, you know, and that worked. Jamal said, "Yeah, it sounded good." We all agreed. It sounded good. And I don't know who came up with the train whistle. You remember, Phil? How did we got the horn? Was it Dennis?
I really don't know. It could have been Dennis. It might have been. Yeah. I'm really not sure who came up with the idea of the train. It was Dennis. It was Randy Muller.
No, I don't think it was Randy. We did all this on our own. That I do know, as
Yeah.
far as Express. But I
Yeah.
think Dennis Rowe came up with this. I have this old horn train whistle. I think he brought it down, and we can't, right.
Yeah. But since we said it was going to sound like an Express, that we wanted to get something that sounded, reminded people of a train,
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's probably Dennis, I guess. Then.
And then Do It You're Satisfied. Did that require many takes, or how hard was that to get down like that?
Well, I don't think it required that many takes, because we try to keep it as simple as possible. We try to keep the horn lines simple, and just the rhythm and whatnot, because the song, the title, and the words pretty much sold itself.
Yes.
So we have to really do much on that, And one thing that I found out with success is to keep things simple. Don't try to complicate it.
Yes, that was a matter of fact, it was very simple to do that song, because we had everything there. We knew what we were going to do, and the only thing is, I think someone has told me to put a little bit more ooh into it, before I start singing. That's when I came up with ooh, go on and do it,
Yeah.
But it was simple. We knew what it, and then didn't take maybe 2 or 3 takes, and that was it.
Oh. Right.
And the guitar and organ are so great on that.
Yeah, that was one of Sam Taylor had put the organ in, I think.
Right. Yeah.
That was one of the first 45 singles that I bought as a kid. Do It You're Satisfied. And I remember that colorful Roadshow label.
Right.
Yeah.
It was like a cartoon with the van and stuff and flowers, and it was just an amazing experience.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys expect it to take off like it did, and how did you feel with the response?
Well, I thought it was a good record. Honestly speaking, I didn't realize it would go as big as it did. But yes, I did think it was a good record. And people around us kept telling us, you guys better get ready for an explosion, because the way that the industry is talking about this record, it's really going to be something special. So other people around us, I think, had a more of a take on it as far as how big it would be. I thought it would be a good record. I didn't realize it would be as big as it turned out.
No, I think it got us all by surprise.
Yeah.
Really. Excepting other producers.
Yeah.
But me, like, I was driving down Belt Parkway and I heard it. I said, that sound like me. That
Right.
sound like the whole song. And I turned the radio up. I said, yeah, that is me. Wow.
Was that the first time you heard it on the radio?
Yes.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So you heard Express or Do It You're Satisfied first on the radio?
Just Do It You're Satisfied.
I didn't do it. Do It was actually our first big hit. And then Express also was on the album that was pulled off second.
Yeah.
And I tell you the truth, who we up until this day owe a lot to is a former DJ named Frankie Crocker. We truly owe him our soul, because Frankie Crocker was one of the biggest DJs in America at that time, not just in New York, but across the U.S. And Frankie Crocker, for about 3 to 4 weeks, put that whole album on. He just played that album day in and day out, not just a 1 or 2 records. In other words, that was when the disco era was starting. So the fact that the disco era was starting, everything on that album is in the disco mode. And Frankie Crocker just put that thing on day in and day out. And I owe him a lot. He passed away, but we owe Frankie a lot. Oh yeah.
The album was so strong from front to back. I mean, did you guys realize how consistent it was throughout? And it was like one of the greatest debuts of the funk era for sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And once we started listening to it, that's when we realized what was going on. Yeah, we realized that, this was the disco era between us and Gloria Gaynor and some of the other folks and the Tramps and whatnot. That disco era, no question.
And, for me, I got the 45 of Do It You're Satisfied. Then I got the album and heard the longer version, which I didn't know until I had the album. And that was like a real wake up call because the extended version is, really something fantastic.
Yeah. Well, that's where you feature more the organ. Yeah, the organ on that. Oh, yeah.
And the way the band comes back in, just phenomenal.
Right. Yeah.
This House Is Smokin, the closer, was like one of my favorites too. And I just wish it was longer, that one.
I know that was just a put together song too. It just quick put together,
Right.
And it turned out to be a good song,
Well, I think it was just the sound that we had. We had a certain sound.
Because that the licks I played on the guitar on that House Is Smokin came exactly almost lick for lick from Kool and the Gang.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like I said, Kool and the Gang, I used to listen to them get it licking. That was one of their licks on it. I don't remember what song it was now, but
was that Hollywood Swinging? I don't know.
Yeah, Hollywood Swinging.
Yeah.
Was it? No. Well, it could have been. But anyway, that House Is Smokin, I put the same lick and it worked well, perfect.
So then did you guys go right out on tour? What was your, live performances like based on the first record?
Oh, yeah. Well, not too far past that is when we went out. I think the first big gig I remember playing was in Savannah, Georgia at Savannah State College. That's the first big gig I remember. I mean, it was thousands of people and enthusiastic college students and other folks. And I mean, I knew then it was something special. Yeah. And that's I remember going into Savannah State College. Okay.
Yeah. And, and what gig I'll never forget is when we went to Singapore. I don't know if you remember Singapore.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
We had to pray for the Prince of Thailand.
Right. That's right.
That
in Bangkok.
Yeah.
Bangkok.
Now, the funny thing about that, we worked hard. We worked every show. We played our heart out. And at the end of the show, it was quiet. No one did nothing until the Prince got up and clapped his hand. You remember? Right. And then everybody just went, wow.
Yeah. Whatever everybody else would do.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that.
So I'm so glad he didn't get up and boo. So we would have been in trouble.
That's what I was thinking.
I'm glad he got up and
What?
Yeah, it was nice. I never forget.
I'm sorry, Rick, were you going to add to that? Or?
No, I just say I never forget that show, because, it had me really puzzled when we did, at the end of each song. I didn't know what to expect.
That whole tour was great. We went through every place. We went to Japan, we went to Hong Kong, Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia. So that was that. What's name got that for us? I'm trying to think of that was Universal Attractions. Jack Bart, I think it was. Bart. Yeah, I think he's the one who set us up with a lot of stuff overseas. He was the manager and also the person who set a lot of things up for the stylistics. He was the manager of the stylistic, okay, and whatnot. And but he also had a company, that that did tours and whatnot. So he's the one who had a lot of connections overseas. Universal Attractions.
Mm-hmm. That's all right. Now in Japan, they just knew they knew everything about us, every detail, every word for word, every lyric, everything. They copied everything in Japan.
Right.
They could, I don't know, they just like were there. They knew before we knew what we were doing.
Right.
That's how they are in Japan.
Oh yeah, yeah. If they see anything, they're gonna copy it.
Wow, an amazing experience just getting exposed to all those cultures and feeling like you can reach the whole world like that just must be amazing.
Oh
Yes.
yeah. It was just fantastic. Just fantastic.
Could you guys give us a sense of the chemistry of the band at that time in terms of, you know, did you guys socialize a lot together also, and what was the musical chemistry like of the whole unit?
Well, some of us got together. You know, we weren't like some groups that had a tremendous heavy chemistry off stage. No, I wouldn't say that. But like Rick and I used to hang out together, you know, and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And then I guess from time to time we would get together with things or whatever. But no, we never really was into a lot of things off stage. No, we were more playing what we had to play on stage. You know, so you know, it was bringing in different folks from different cultures and different backgrounds. So.
Mm-hmm. Like me and Bill, we used to stick together, and Jamal and Kashif, or sometimes Dennis, they would say Carlos was a loner.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, what's the name? Was a real good person to be around. Terrell Woods. He was down to earth.
Oh
tell it like it is, you know. And I really miss him. He passed away, but he was. Terrell was okay.
Did you guys spend a lot of time rehearsing, and did some song ideas come out of, you know, sort of jamming and rehearsing?
We spent some time rehearsing, maybe not as much as we should have, but from time to time, I guess we came up with some ideas, you know, from listening to other folks and whatnot. But I think by and large, we had more outside writers, which I think we could have written a lot more stuff on our own. We would have been a lot better off. You know?
Yes. Because Kashif, he was good, but he had his own ideas for his own thing.
Right.
You know, instead of mainly putting things like maybe together, because he was a great writer. I don't know if you're familiar with Kashif.
Yeah, I know he produced a lot of 1980s, especially hit records. Yeah.
Right. Now, when he was with us, he was mainly for himself, writing things for himself instead of for the group that he was in. So, you know, that's why that went in that direction, you know?
And I think some of the ideas that he may have come up with, we may not have been ready for it anyway, because I think that we may have thought that it was different than what we wanted to do at that time. So I think that may have been an opportunity missed too. So. Yeah, but that's what great, you know.
Yeah, well, he kind of went in more of a R&B, less of a funk direction on his stuff. There's much more to this great Truth and Rhythm interview. Just continue on to the next part of the episode. Also, be sure to subscribe to this channel. If you've already done so, please share it with friends. And become a member by joining Truth and Rhythm on Patreon, or consider donating at funkinstuff.net. Thank you very much.